Hey, how's it going? This is Melinda and welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing a review of the REL Acoustics Classic 99 subwoofers. They are an answer to a lot of people who were wanting a Classic 98 but had a larger room and needed a larger subwoofer. So the Classic 98s came out first. They were a huge success, and now the Classic 99s are here to help with people who have a little bit of a bigger music room. For reference, I have a 230 square foot room, and I believe the Classic 99s are recommended for people who have 200 square feet or larger. Of course, that's up to you and what you want to buy. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about these REL Classic 99s. They are a 450 watt Class D amplifier with a 12-inch down-firing driver. They have deep bass going all the way down to 24 hertz with flexible inputs, and REL's recommended connection method is the speak on high level inputs, but they also have the line level RCA inputs as well as the LFE home theater inputs. They weigh in at about 49.3 pounds, which for someone of my size as a woman, it's important to know. My music room's upstairs, so I need to know whether it's going to be heavy or not. To me, 49.3 pounds is kind of heavy. And a lot of people may even wonder, why would you need subwoofers? Well, subwoofers really do help take the load off of your speaker. And if you have a medium or a large room, they just add a lot of punch. And I will say, when it comes to REL Acoustics, John Hunter is the owner and the developer. He is one of the most respected people here in the audio industry. I've never heard anything but wonderful things about him. So I already own a pair of REL S510s, and I've had just absolutely nothing but good things to say about them. They've been wonderful for me. And John Hunter is a very respected person here in the audio community. So let's talk about the looks of these subwoofers. They are a night and day difference to what I have. I've already said I have the REL S510s, and both of these different styles appeal to me in different ways. The S510s are the black, sleek, elegant, beautiful type of subwoofer that appeals to that side of me, the side of fancy and pretty. But I feel like the Classic 99s appeal to that vintage vibe that I also love. You know, in my music room, I actually have mid-century modern looking furniture. I have modern equipment, but some of it looks vintage, and they go very nicely. So you can't really go wrong with either style, at least for me, because I love both of the looks. Looks are very important, price is always very important, but obviously the sound quality is what matters most. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the wow moments I had while listening to these Classic 99s. The first record I'm going to talk to you about is one that, you know, a lot of people, it is a test record. I don't normally like to talk about records that are talked about to death, but I really had an aha moment, and this record has a song on it that is a great test record for speakers and subs. And I'm talking about Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms and the song Money for Nothing. So there is a beginning, towards that beginning of the song, before Mark Knopfler sings a single word, there is this guitar explosion that goes on, and it comes to this big crescendo. There's a lot of guitars panning back and forth, big drum pounds, all kinds of things going on at that moment in the song. And if you don't have speakers and a subwoofer that mesh together and are dead accurate, that part of the song becomes a big mess. And I'm happy to report that my MoFi Sourcepoint 10 speakers and these REL Classic 99s melded beautifully together. They were both extremely accurate, and they gave me an amazing experience with that song. I had that old JBL advertisement. I had kind of that moment where I'm sitting back and my hair felt like it was blowing. A tie, you know how that guy's tie is blowing away. I really had that kind of moment when listening to that song with these REL subwoofers. I felt like that sub went all the way down to the floor, and I even felt a little bit of a vibration on the back of the couch that I personally love. If you don't love that, and that's the only time I had that experience where I felt a vibration on the back, but you can always adjust your subs if that's too much for you. And by the way, I'm going to leave a link below to all the information about the subwoofers I'm reviewing, the Classic 99s. And I'm also going to leave a link of all of the stereo equipment that I have in my room while doing all this testing. And I also want to point out that I recently got a turntable. I bought it. I've had it for 3 months. I had it for a couple of months to do a review, and I've had it for a month since then. So I added these REL subwoofers. I have 2 of the Classic 99s in this room, and those were added 6 weeks ago or so. So the sound differences of that the turntable and the new cart and everything like that brought, they're already baked into the cake, you know? So this is just what I heard with these subwoofers. And I have to say that Brothers in Arms, Money for Nothing, was a wonderful experience. And it also led me to just go ahead and grab this record too. This is just a regular copy of the Dire Straits. I believe this is their debut album. It is a gold stamp promo, but it's under $10 because most of my records aren't audiophile records like that. I do have a lot of audiophile records, but the majority of my records are just the normal records that were vintage, bought in the 70s, 80s, maybe the 60s. This sounded incredible too. There's a song on here called Of the Gallery that is so beautiful. The bass guitar, the drums that make up that lower end are incredible, and above that is this guitar, and you hear this beautiful picking. I really do think that having a great lower end benefits the mid-range and the high range as well. And I'll get into a little bit more of that in just a minute with balance. This is Van Halen. Now, again, I know this is not an audiophile record. In fact, this, I believe, was probably digitally recorded in the mid-90s, and it's a digital to vinyl release, but it does sound really, really good. This is a very recent release. I bought the independent record store on orange vinyl version of it. The song Seventh Seal is a great one to listen to when you are checking out subwoofers. With this comes the Seventh Seal. There's these sounds that are on the undertone, the underneath, going and then Alex Van Halen's drums pounding away with Michael Anthony on bass. And it created this amazing experience. I'd never heard it in the way I heard it with these Classic 99s. It just gave it a really full lower end that I really think enlarged the sound stage. I heard the details like I'd never heard them before, and the textures of that were so interesting. And I really do think that that lower end being so full enlarged the sound stage and allowed Eddie's guitar, which is a little bit above, more in the mid-range, to really sound more natural and more in the room, more lifelike, as the room felt like it had expanded. And there's also a song called Doin' Time, which when I had the CD, I would flip. It was a drum break. I felt like it was just a time kill that they put on there just to make the record longer. But with the subwoofers and hearing this drum break, I heard more details. I thought it was more fun to listen to. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I ever did when it was just on a CD and I wasn't hearing all of that definition and all those details. So I really thought that balance was really incredible. And I want to mention this too, because this is a newer reissue I went ahead and listened to it with just the speakers and not the subwoofers at first, and then I put in the subwoofers just to hear the difference. You know, 'cause maybe you could say, well, that was just an improvement in the record, and I do think this is a better sounding copy of Bounce than my original, but it really did add, when I added the subwoofers to the speaker, that's what made a little bit bigger difference. The speaker sounded good, sounded really good. The subwoofer added to it is what added a lot more of that extra oomph and enlarged the soundstage, created more details. So I did want to mention that I did that just to test the subwoofer particularly. And also, this is another record that I think is so fantastic. It's my favorite album of all time. And I put this one on a Friday night. Now, I don't think this is one that anybody says you need to listen to if you're testing out subwoofers. You know, it's not known for this incredible heavy bass all the time, but I will say that it gave me the listen of a lifetime when I put it on with the combination of all of my stereo equipment, and I have a very good copy of this record. The song changes. There is like a Congo drum kind of beat going on the underneath that I heard more details of, and it was just sounded better. It just really elevated that song. And there's a song called Beechwood Park that I truly love, and there's these beautiful keyboards and drums, bass, everything about it, and it just really created this wonderful effect. And I do think that these subwoofers, they look vintage, and in my room, to my ears, gave a little bit of a warm effect sound-wise, making vintage records like the Zombies, and when I pulled Beatles records out, it gave them a little bit more of an enjoyable experience of what they would have sounded like back in the day. Yes, this is a modern speaker with all of the modern cool features and reliability, but I also think I was hearing a little bit of a vintage vibe when I was listening to them with these wonderful records. They were all fantastic. And I know because I have S510s, the S510s, I want to talk to you a little bit about the differences, because I know that's what you're going to want me to say and talk about. I'll say just right off the bat, I love my S510s. They are awesome. They're beautiful. I also love these classic 99s. You can't go wrong either way. They look totally different, so you can base a decision if you want subwoofers on how they look. Do you like the vintage wood, walnut finish, mid-century modern vibe that are a little bit softer? Not to say you can't disturb your neighbors with them, because you absolutely can, and I've thought about it. You can definitely make these extremely powerful, but they have a warmer, softer touch than the S510s when I listen to them. The S510s have great precision. There's a difference in the price. I believe these REL Classic 99s come in at $2,100, and the REL S510s are $3,000, and that's per sub. So there is a difference in price. They both are fantastic. I love my S510s. I've enjoyed every minute of the Classic 99s. So let me know what you think. Do you have subs in your room? Do you enjoy them? What brand do you like? If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell. But most importantly, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.